Hey, everybody, welcome to the Show Me Reptiles Show podcast. It is episode number 8. We're back with Mickey and Scott, and we've got a special guest this week. Brad Morrison of Valhalla Reptiles is joining us. Welcome, Brad.
How y'all doing?
Doing fantastic, man. Mickey's down there in Springfield. We open up the fourth of our brick and mortar stores down there this week. Actually, tomorrow, right, Mickey?
Yeah, tomorrow. So excited. Me and a couple of the employees are going to be here all night long, making sure everything's perfect.
Pulling the all-nighter to get it rolling.
Every day's an all-nighter.
Yeah, well, welcome, Brad. We usually like, when we bring somebody on, we like to ask them first how they got started into reptiles, what sparked that interest when they were younger, and how that kind of transitioned from there into keeping them as pets, and then eventually and ultimately how you got into breeding.
Yeah. So the first and the last part are kind of coincidental. I got into catching garter snakes and blue racers up in Michigan. Lived just outside of Lansing, and I had a Butler's and an Eastern garter snake in the same, like a little 10 or 20 gallon tank or whatever it was with a heat rock. And no thermostat because nobody knew anything about that back then. So I came home from live squiggling garters in there. So I kept like 3 of them, let everything else go in the field. Mom and Dad were, get rid of everything but the 3. I said, okay. So I did that for a little while, and colubrids, I started selling to a local pet store, $5, $10, $15 a piece. And I was 11, 12, 13 years old at the time. So I was like, this is pretty cool. Every once in a while I get $100, $150. Not a bad gig. So as I got older, I didn't have any more after I moved out for a while, and then ball pythons started kind of getting hot. And I'd seen like a spider and a albino maybe at a store, and I was like, oh, that's cool, but I didn't have $250 or whatever it was at the time to buy a cage, and I certainly didn't have $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever a spider was back then, or $3,000 for a single gene albino. So went to Petco, got just a normal ball python, put it in a 40-gallon breeder, as a hatchling with a red light. Everything you can do wrong with a ball python, I did right off the bat. And I got on some forums, met some people on there. Karen Norris, Deb Stewart was one of them, and then got talking with Barchek, and he was local in Michigan. Had me out to the store. He was spending $100,000 plus. Seemed like a month on albinos and the first chocolates and pieds and everything he had going on. He kind of showed me all that, and I was like, maybe I want to breed these things. That seems pretty lucrative business, right? Not knowing that it, at the time, was not, unless you had a little bit of money to play. So I got the normal, and I went to a reptile show in Flint, Michigan. I went with the intention of buying a female Mojave, because I'd seen the Mojave gene. That was $500 or $600 back then. One guy, I think his name was Carl Aiken, maybe back then. I don't know if he's still around. I had one for like $550. I picked that up, and then the kind of rest got history with as far as the ball pythons went. Moved to Missouri, started going to the original Show Me there in Bridgeton, because I was in Maryland Heights, right down the street. So started going to that show. I met Ben Rennick. I talked to Ben a few times. I helped him out at a couple shows. Champagne ball pythons were hot, so we used to selling the mess out of them at the time. And then me and my now ex-wife ended up moving to Tennessee. So I kind of moved everything down here, but I kind of started to drift away from wanting to do ball pythons. Got a Centralian at the time, 2 or 3 Womas. I had 5 or 6 short tails. So I ended up selling everything when me and my ex-wife got divorced, met my new wife, talked a little bit about how I wanted to get back into it. And she's like, well,
Brad.
Huh?
You got remarried?
Yeah. Got 2 boys with it and a daughter. And we had talked about it. She's like, well, if you get back into it, it's got to be something you're going to want to do. And the only thing I really liked at the time when I was keeping all those species, man, I loved the short tails. The Bloods, the Sumatrans. I didn't have any Borneos at the time, but the Bloods and the Sumatrans were it for me. So I had sold everything to Beamer at Reptile Collective, and he's right. He's 2 miles from me. So he was thinking about getting rid of or getting out of the Bloods. I got him back. We worked it out. Kind of a business deal, and took first year, went slow, did one pairing. Had to make sure everything was healthy and breeding weight, fighting weight. So did all that, and then this year we paired 7 or 8, and all of them took a lot of first year females. So we weren't counting on that. Looking at 100 and some odd eggs in the incubator with a baby rack that holds 40. So we had to kind of clutch time it and build.
That math doesn't work too well.
No, the math ain't mathing.
So you basically got out of everything and then jumped back into the short tails.
Yeah, I was completely out. I had nothing. I mean, I can't remember how many ball pythons I had at the time. There was 3 Walmas, 1 from Ben, a couple from Grant and Mary Hubbard, and 1 Centralian, I think. And then the 6 or 7 Bloods or whatever that I had, and a couple Sumatrans. So all that went to him. Got nothing. So I was out for about.
Had to feel lost every day, getting up and seeing absolutely nothing to play with.
Yeah, and it took like a year and a half to kind of realize I missed it. Maybe not. Maybe it was 9 months. A year and a half until we decided to get back in.
What is it about the short tail stuff that just drew you back in? That you said, "All right, this is the avenue I'm going with."
So I always wanted to berm, but I was, my ex-wife was not having 13, 16-foot animal, 12-foot animal in the house. So I felt like this was kind of the perfect in between with the space of what I got. With 3 kids in the house and us. We actually reconverted right now. This is the garage. I floored it, put in a mini split. Got all the racks in here right now, but I think we might do a separate building next year or the year after to accommodate all that we're producing currently.
What is it about? We usually ask people the things they specialize in. What's your sales pitch? If somebody comes to you at the show and is like, why would I be interested in this, or what makes these a great pet?
They're low maintenance. I'll say it's a less intrusive process than taking care of a ball python. They're a little bit tighter. They'll get sick pretty quick with temperatures and humidity not being right. Where a ball python, you can take a while till that gets a respiratory infection. These guys will, if you've got a insanely cold room or you can't provide that about 78 to 83 degree gradient and the 65% humidity, they'll get sick quicker than a ball python. As far as care goes, though, that's your parameters I give people. I'm like, it's like that, but you don't have to have 88 to whatever I can't remember the low range for ball python was, or maybe it was 80 to 92, or these guys 78 to 83 front to back of the enclosure. You can keep the whole thing 80 and have a hot spot of 85 that they can touch occasionally, and you're never going to have an issue with them as long as you can keep those parameters. It's 2 things: it's heat and humidity. Heat and humidity, and you'll never have a problem out of them. And a lot of people, when they come up, they mistake them for a boa, or say, my buddy had one of these, it was mean. And I said, well, he probably kept it wrong. First off, when they're too hot, they're not pleasant. These guys at 82 degrees I haven't been bit by one yet. So.
Yeah, and like Mickey mentioned before we started recording that a lot of that bad reputation just comes from the original imported animals. And, obviously anything from the wild is not going to be as tame. And so they kind of have a nasty reputation out there from the get-go.
Yeah, it was terrible. With the imports. And there's just a lack of knowledge that people had with them, keeping them. Now you got some people pioneering it that they've done a lot of outreach. And I try to every show we do. The goal is not necessarily, hey, I'm going to sell it to you, but let me get it in your hands. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about why this is a good animal. I'm not going to have somebody come up and go, hey, I'm going to sell you a $1,500 blood python. I want you to hold it though. I don't want that reputation that I feel like is undeserved to stay out there, because I feel like a lot of people are missing the boat on them. They're missing the enjoyment of keeping them. They're not really a fast moving species. I mean, they're a lot like any other reptile. When they're content, they're just kind of hanging out. But when you get them out, they're a lot of fun to work with, because you get that big bodied animal, a little bit shorter package, is manageable by one person. One adult any given day of the week can handle a full adult blood python. Whereas, if you're 5 foot, my wife's 5 foot tall, she couldn't hold a berm by herself. So I guess I don't really do a sales pitch as much as I do as like an educational. These things got a bad rap. I know you've probably heard. Like I said, a lot of people mistake them for boas, which they're pretty far from. But they just got that bad reputation, and it precedes them. And then there'll be. We did a show. I think it was a Show Me show in Murfreesboro. We had one that was cool all day, and a guy come up and was looking at it, and it struck the glass. I was like, oh man. I was just talking to this guy about how these things are cool, but few and far between with what we got, and we don't ever sales pitch someone an animal if it is a little nippy, and we don't warn them about it. We're not like, oh yeah, this, hey, they'll all bite you. But if we got one that's a little nippier, say, a little bit feisty, can be nippy, not quite used to a lot of movement around it yet. We handle all ours. We work with them from babies to point of sale. So everything here has been handled hundreds of times, not necessarily in long intervals, just tub changes, but everything in this room has been touched and will be touched. I'd say at least 100 times before it's ever made available to the public. So we're pretty in tune with each animal's personality if somebody is interested in a purchase.
Yeah, that's great to know. I mean, a lot of times just to be able to actually give them accurate information on what the temperament is like, what they're eating, what their habits are, that's huge.
And it's also we refuse sales. As crazy as that sounds, I won't sell you an animal if I don't think you can take care of it, because this is definitely something I enjoy to do, and I don't want you calling me and you get home and got a couple days, got a respiratory infection, or you've kept it too hot or too cold, and it's striking and biting. Like, if I don't feel you can take care of it, that's kind of part of our policy is you gotta let me know that you're prepared to take care of an animal before I'll sell you one.
That's respectable for sure. What differentiates the species that you work with? If somebody was asking you what kind of separates one from the other.
So the bloods are it was named after color.
Wait, 1 second, I got a delivery, guys. Keep going. Sorry.
The bloods get the name from the color. The Bronger's my. The Borneos are the Python Breitensteini, which they get a little bit smaller. They can't get as big as the bloods do, and they're more of a browns, yellows, grays. They're impressive animals. They're really pretty animals. And then you got the Sumatran short tails. And these are all locale based. So the Sumatrans are the smallest of them. Like a big female will be 5 foot and 25, maybe 30 pounds. But it's kind of a size thing almost. Like your bloods are typically going to get bigger. Your Borneos are going to be a little bit smaller than the bloods, and then the Sumatran is going to be the shortest of all the short tails. And they're all in that same family just because of that. I mean, little tails. They're fat all the way down and then little tail. So it's really the taxonomy, a little bit different facial structure from blood to Borneo to Sumatran. But you can tell pretty quick between the three of them which is which. Your Sumatrans are going to come in blacks, silvers. There is some albino in them now, pumpkin head and T-positive albino and caramel. But they're pretty distinguishable by the color, basic color patterns, I'd say.
What's the most exciting thing you've got in the incubator for this year, and what morphs or what exciting projects are you working on?
I really liked this clutch that just came out. It was a CBE cold-blooded earth Nick Mattini batik to a giant keeper goldeneye Het T negative albino. So everything in there is possible had that hatched, and we hatched out 4 golden eyes, 6 batiks, and a pixel, which is the combination of the golden eye and the batik, and all possible Het T negative albino. We got a marble to marble Borneo clutch, hoping for extreme marbles. That's June 13th is when that one's expected to hatch or start pipping. So I mean, really, we're pretty high on everything we got. We got some good lines, some martyr stuff from the blood cell and Kara Norris that we paired up. They've actually got 2 clutches of martyr in there going currently. Got some more Sumatrans coming. I mean, we're pretty high on all of it, just because we like all the species. I mean, they're all, you know, so it's kind of an honor to be able to work with them and handle them and kind of have the outreach, talk to people, because a lot of people don't talk to people. You know, blood community is a pretty tight-knit group, but like a lot of reptile communities, not necessarily always they're going to do outreach or be social with people. And being that I have to talk for a living, I'll get out there and mingle and spread as much information as I can.
Gotcha. And if you have cool photos of the projects that you're working on, send them to me after, and I'll put them up here as you're talking about them, so people can
absolutely.
See the morphs you're
Yeah,
so
that'd be,
you mentioned the dates. Are they fairly regular, like the ball pythons? I know with mine, if you keep the incubation temps correct, that pip date is within 2 days, one way or the other, almost every single clutch.
They're from what we did last year and this year, we're 58 to 66 days. Anywhere in there from the first pip. And the one that pipped on 58, I was kind of surprised. You know, I was like, 60, 65, 66, kind of more normal for them. But the one that pipped on 58, nothing else came out until a week later. So we had one come out, and then everything else was just kind of hanging out. But as far as breeding for us, we do the females every other year because these are a bigger species. They take a little longer to recover, pack weight back on, pack on size, be healthy enough to give an average. Our average clutch this year is between 13 and 16. So, they're laying pretty good sized eggs, and it takes a lot out of them. And I don't want to, I'm going to breed my females to death to sell you something type of guy. I'm going to keep my animals healthy. And that's going to be the paramount priority. Is everything in this room is not going to sneeze, die for some unknown reason. We're going to keep everything in here healthy so we can, when they're done with the breeding cycle, I got a huge female up here, and I'll never breed her. And she's cool. She's a cool ambassador, as big as she is, but I'll never breed her. Just her age, there's no sense in it for me.
Yeah. What's the largest? When you said she the biggest one?
Yeah, she is probably a little over 6.5 foot and between 40 and 50 pounds, somewhere in there.
That's a lot.
So her head's hand sized.
That's awesome. Is that one, you said you take that one as an ambassador?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, I would absolutely love to get her out to a show, but I do get a little nervous around shows. I've seen stuff at shows. I'm like, man, I don't want to be near that guy. We're gonna end up with sick animals, or and to Show Me's credit, that's why I've always liked Show Me, is they've always kept tight quality control on it, where I'm not nervous to bring an animal to a show. Where I did a bunch of Repticons with the Reptile Collective and Steve, that half the people they were letting in the door, I'm like, man, you can see mites crawling on these animals, and nothing against Repticon. I don't have any beef with the Repticon. It wasn't as tight a control as what I like, because I don't want to have to come home and do a lot of extra work. I want my animals leave here healthy, go to the show healthy, come home healthy. Go to someone who might want to buy one's house healthy and stay that way. Like that's our paramount priority. Like I said, we've refused plenty of sales just based on, hey, I'm sorry, man. Like I'd love to sell it to you, but I can't, because I feel like you're going to be calling me, telling me you killed it.
Yeah.
Or you're just not prepared to take care of it.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want to do is go to a show and sit there all weekend and be cringing about what people could be bringing to your booth. That's we appreciate the feedback. That's something that Scott works really hard at, is making sure that all of our guys are doing those health checks.
Yeah,
Um,
Show Me does a stupid good job at it. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've done a lot of great shows, but as far as control of, I've seen Show Me release vendors too. Hey, now got to go. And, we appreciate that. They bring healthy animals to the shows.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
if it's a minor issue, we get the animal off the table. We try to educate, but yeah, certainly if it's something that's repeated or it's egregious, then we don't even want them at the show. It just a bad look all around,
yeah,
and it
yeah. I
puts
mean,
everybody in jeopardy.
it's kind of why we're all in it, right? You'd think, or you'd hope. I mean, not everybody, but a passion for it. Number one, a want to spread that passion. I never understood the new up and coming guy, taking your licks at him because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like some of the biggest names that are out there right now, I remember when they started, and they were those same guys. And
Yeah,
nobody kicked them in the mouth right off the bat. A lot of people
yeah,
took them under their wing and grew it. And that's kind of what it's all about, is growing it and getting these kids into it, or adults or grandparents. It doesn't matter. Like the age range is irrelevant, but it should be about spreading the information and our passion. Those of us that are in the hobby, and expanding that. Why wouldn't you want to be able to go to a show and 20 other vendors that are in the same kind of space you're at, and everybody's having a good time at the show, and hey, we're all doing this right, everything's good. Yeah, that's
yeah. And almost every guest we have on, there's somebody that helped them along the way that really helped spark the interest, because yeah, you can read and you can research online, but you kind of need that mentorship. You need somebody that really helps push you and say, hey, I don't care what you read. This is what I know from experience.
yeah, and that was mine. I mean, most polarizing guy ever in the hobby, maybe in the top few with Brian. But what he showed me at the time, it wasn't the money he was spending. It wasn't it was his energy. I
Yeah.
mean, the energy the guy had and the passion about it. Talking to me, and the time he took to talk to little redneck kid from a small town, um, to help guide that passion. And that was one of the things he'd said was, you don't get in it for money. So I make good money at it, but you get in it for the passion of it, and he had that. And that's kind of how I've hooked up over the years here with Steve Beamer at Reptile Collective. I mean, same way, guy breeds 50 different species of everything, and he does it all well. It's not, you're not going to go to his facility, you're not going to find mites or respiratory infections, or I mean, any of the things that you don't want. It's be a good ambassador to the hobby. Don't get out there just to make the profit and the money, but get out there to spread the love of it and the education.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, that's a good, bad, or otherwise anything anybody ever had to say about Barczak. You cannot argue the passion and that it was a true love for him.
Oh, you really can't. No.
Yeah, like the guy was just a presence in a room. You walked in the room and everyone kind of focused right on him. It was his energy, it was everything he brought to the room.
Yeah, and it was, and I've get and the kind of weird part that I've got, or like feedback back from shows, and my wife says it, is I'm in decent physical shape, and I don't always draw people in. She says, you might be imposing upon some people, and I'm like, I talk for a living. For the last 10 years at my job, the position I've been elected to, I talk all day, so I can talk to anybody. If you ever see me at a show, hey, come up, and I mean, I don't even care if it's bloods you want to talk about. You want to talk about ball pythons or crocodiles. I mean, we're all reptile enthusiasts when it comes down to it. But some of us have our own what we like best, or what we like working with best, or our niches. But I think most of us, have a general love for all the reptiles. And some of the amphibians and stuff are nice, and the inverts. I wouldn't have an invert like a scorpion or something because I think they're awesome. But for the same reason, I wouldn't have a king cobra. I know myself too well.
Yeah.
Make a mistake, and that'd be a quick ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you got little kids at home too, you got to think about that as well. That's what keeps me out of the hot game myself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, and we talked about it before on here with Mickey. Was it's like the kind of the non-venomous gaboon viper, like the speed they strike at, the body structure. But I wouldn't want one of those either because as much as I love them, I know hey, there's a chance a kid could get to them. Number one, number two. Have a couple Jamesons one night and say, hey, you guys want to see something cool? And not a good idea.
Yeah, well, I'm fortunate that I got Mickey pretty close by, so if I want to go see some hots, I can just go to his house.
Yeah, that's a huge bonus. I don't know anybody around here in Middle Tennessee that keeps venomous. And I know. I mean, if you're large variety of species, our restrictions are pretty lax. I just don't know anyone that keeps them. Or
I'm
I know
sure,
we do.
I'm sure Mickey can get you some referrals.
I'm sure.
We have a good zoo in St. Louis. I'll just go down there and look at them. I'm like you. I know I've try always to be careful with every single thing, but I have things that have escaped before and had to go find them in the house, and I really don't want them to be something that could kill me or the cat or my mom or anything like that. So
Yeah,
I'll stick to my sand boas and ball pythons and kings and milks and all that good stuff.
and I've been fortunate in that to not. I don't think I've ever had an escapee. I had when I was going through the divorce. I had my ex came to the house. I was out of town, and I let a whole rack of baby ball pythons out. And I had some fire pinstripe VPI exanthic stuff in there, and I was, luckily I found them all. But it was right near a vent that runs through my house that just drops straight into the depths of the crawl space. So I was like, great, I'm gonna these animals are gone. I mean, luckily I found them, but I've been fortunate with not having an escapee. But I mean, to your point, I wouldn't want to risk it with something like a venomous that. I mean, I've been interested in the king cobras and mambas and stuff like that since I was 5 or 6. I'll never have one.
Yeah, I definitely would much rather hunt for my lost sand boa than a king cobra. That's
So what I'm gathering is that you need to come up to the St. Louis show next month, come up a day early, go visit Mickey, check out all his king cobras and everything else, and then you can do the show on Sunday.
I see. I'd love to. So we haven't done. We're looking at probably August for shows based on availability.
Okay.
Right now, everything that's actually fed and has some size on it, and I'm comfortable selling. We've got two left right now. Out of this last August 15 egg Sumatran clutch. So when we're full displays out, Bridgeton is definitely on my hit list to go back home and kind of where the whole thing started really with shows, because we didn't really have them in Michigan back in 708 in Flint or Burton, maybe, I think, once a year, and it would always be an odd weekend. So not really something we did, but we definitely want to do St. Louis. I've looked at maybe doing Paducah. I typically vend with Reptile Collective with Steve.
Okay.
I'll set up with him opposite side, because we had everything kind of together for a little bit, and you really can't mix bloods and short tails in with ball pythons and do very well with that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, look at there's a pastel exanthic clown, and then there's that fat silver and black thing next to it. What's that? And they're like, that's not as cool as all the pretty colors on that.
you having a
skull
table.
blind
You
ball
having a table.
python.
But if you had a table yourself with all that stuff at the show, I know it's got to grab people's attention when they walk by because you don't see it. You may see a couple bloods on a table here and there, but you don't really go to shows and come across somebody that's got 20 or 30 beautiful different animals on the table that
Yeah,
all are in that category.
I think that's why we're in a unique spot is we can be the person that shows us got 30 or 40 different color and pattern in subspecies or species with the Borneos and the bloods and the short Sumatrans, and people can look at them and they go, wow, man, like, okay, right, like that animal's not a lot bigger than a ball python, but it's like triple the girth. I mean, what's that all about? And then we can hit them with the education, from that point on what they are and the enjoyment we get from them. If it's not your bag, I'm not gonna. I don't want to push you into it if it's not something you're gonna take seriously. The care of an animal, but
yeah, it's a bizarre shaped animal. When you first look at them, you just your gut instinct almost is to think it's just an obese snake, but obviously that's their norm. But it's just an impressive animal.
And they are, and the weird kind of thing about it is I've seen a couple vendors that had bloods at shows. Nice animals, but they're the most common thing I see online is these things are not like ball pythons. Is that they will eat until they die if you let them. So I like this big female up here that's wandering around. I feed her once every month or two. Like a jumbo rat, because you want to be able to see their spine. They still got to have a body shape. This is not an animal that's going to get, anaconda width when it's laying out. I mean, they're going to be thick, but you need to see that spine still, for them to be in an optimally healthy condition. Because you can overfeed these things in the matter of a couple months.
So no hunger strikes with short tails.
No, you're not. Up until this blackhead behind me, the day before she laid 15 last year, she ate a large rat. So I mean, they
right
eat
up
like,
to the minute.
In my experience, they'll eat right up until they lay. A couple of them have shut down a couple weeks before. They'll have a pre-lay shed and then maybe eat once in that time. Usually I don't even try to feed them, but I had an extra pre-killed, so did a little. As soon as I opened the cage, did a little dangle, come out, grabbed it. And I was, well, okay, good deal. And then 2 weeks later, laid 16 eggs.
So what do you see going forward in the future? Is any projects that you're just dying to get into, or things that you want to add to the collection?
Yeah. Elijah Armis has one of the projects I really want with Juggernaut called the Druid, and it's he's effectively made the first blue-eyed leucistic bloods.
Oh, wow.
Which is what attracted me to ball pythons in the first place, the whole Mojave complex and everything, the white snake, blue eyes. Pretty sick setup. So I'd love to get in that project. I know not a lot of that has been available, and who knows what that point would be to get into that project, but I might not even have that kind of long money. Kara Norris has some great raspberry line stuff. Because a lot of bloods, it's more lines than morphs. I mean, there is more morphs coming into it and patterns and variations, but I mean, lines. You got Martyr, the blood cell lines from Kara, Nick Bettini and CBE. CBE has a bunch of lines. Lily, all these lines of animals. Really, with bloods, it's about making them redder. So the redder you can make it. If you keep it within that same line, you're not muddying the gene pool. You're not going to see a 5 or 6 genetic short tail anytime soon. Not from a purist or someone who's real into just bloods. You'll get your outliers who try to do some wild things probably, but you don't really hear or know about them either.
That was like my favorite, the Red Bulls.
Yes. I saw some Red Bull line stuff pop up the other day, and I was like, oh, man, I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. Those, I remember I got a baby probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I grew it up, and it was just so freaking red. You know, it didn't have a lot of browning to it, you know, and stuff. It was beautiful animal, and it's been crazy seeing some of the blood stuff that's like the line bred stuff that you're talking about that's been coming through. It's been insane because you have to like double take it. It's like, whoa, where'd that even come from?
I wonder if I grab this animal out of here. I guess.
You were just talking about how friendly they are, and it's going to bite the shit out of you while you're getting it out of its tub.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
And that's a sales pitch for some people. I remember last year in Tulsa, we had a guy who, got handed a blood python about that size right there and held it up just like that. He's like, oh, she's beautiful. Tagged him right in the face, right in the temple, gushing blood. He's like, oh, she's perfect. I want her.
So that gal is a matrix. Easy. You're good. She's like, I just ate. Back in you go. So she just ate like 2 weeks ago. Pretty big, good sized rat. But that was a matrix lily het paws from April Homage, and the reds on that animal are incredible. Just like the separation from the red to the black to the white to the yellow. Every color that's on there, it just stands out. Like when she sheds, she pops. And they don't really dull out bloods. It's kind of a hard. She started grabbing animals. I don't know. Is it something people do, or is it a weird thing?
Hey,
No, go for it.
Right behind you.
That's what it's all about,
We're down for show and tell.
That's why we're all here. It's for the animals.
So like this chromehead Sumatran here absolutely did not look anything like that when it hatched. So the kind of cool thing about these is where like a ball python, you're going to see the absolute best version of them right out of the egg. Like they're never going to beat that point almost.
Yeah,
Some of them
only going to go downhill.
Some improve, I guess, depending on the genetics. And I know there's some crazy stuff out there that I haven't really kept track of, but you're looking at 2 years with these guys to see what they actually look like. That's kind of their pop is 2 years in. So it's kind of a long game. Where I think this way maybe why you don't have a lot of people that get into them is because you're not breeding these animals a female until she's probably at least 12 pounds. You're not looking at grams. You're measuring these in pounds, and that's a 4 to anywhere from 4 to 6 year process to get there to where they're healthy to breed.
I said, screw the metric system. We use pounds.
We use pounds. Yeah, like the British, but not the British pounds.
Right, because those would be metric pounds.
Yes. So we almost.
Just measure it in stone.
I'm real
Metric
tempted to get the real big girl out, but she's difficult to maneuver at times. Oh, she was drinking. Come here, big mama.
Which probably means she's going to pee on you.
No, but she did just dump her water bottle over. So she is about to shed. No, she peed.
Oh,
So she is a.
That's a big girl.
Yeah, she's impressive. And I didn't know you were about to shed. That's my bad. But yeah, so that's our full grown. Like you want a full grown female. That's kind of where you're at. I mean, after years and years, obviously, that's not a 3-year-old animal. That's
Yeah, what'd you say she was, like 12?
Yeah, she's up 12 or 13. So she's up there, up there a ways.
What's
Pretty
their
mature
life? What's their lifespan?
20 to 30. 25 is about what I'd say. She's probably got another 10 or 12 left in her. But it's not one I'm really interested in breeding either. She's just a matrix. I mean, awesome base morph blood. But I don't have anything I'm really desiring to do to her or do with her. That's not saying in maybe a couple of years, hey, man, okay, I thought of something. But right now, she's just a cool. I'd love to bring her to shows. That's
Yeah.
one that
So, so it's okay to have just animals that you enjoy. Everything doesn't have to be bred. So
Yeah, there's a few in here that I'll never breed. I keep them for my enjoyment. There's a few that I'm breeding that no one's ever seen. One's shedding right now and looks absolutely horrible, but no, they have seen it. It's a long lost kind of project in the Borneos called Tiger. And I happened to come into a visual in a couple hets, but those are the couple females that we lost a clutch this year, and then one slugged out. So
what's somebody decided they're interested, they want to take one home as a pet. What's the basic requirements? Because you mentioned obviously that you said you don't want to sell to them unless you know they can care for it. But what's the setup? What's the bare minimum? What are the things they need to have squared away to take home? Maybe a baby.
I like if you don't have like a rack system, you're not breeding or keeping multiple species, the PVC setups with the plexiglass, because holding that humidity for these guys is huge. Just be able to hold that humidity in and around 65 degrees, and that constant, like you have to have a thermostat. If I'm going to sell you an animal, I will not sell you something where, if you got a room where you say, hey, this room is 80 degrees year round and 55% humidity year round, because we're in Tennessee, if it's a local sale, I get it. Okay, I'm not too standoffish with that, but a thermostat is a requirement for me. An enclosure is a requirement for me, whether it's a tub and a rack system, or a PVC enclosure or something similar. I'm not a huge fan of the tanks, just because when they're babies, it's an animal that's preyed upon, so they can be snappy. If you're moving quick reflections by them, you may not have a great experience. I actually sold one to a lady. Hey, we keep tons of animals, and she was a sweet gal, sweet daughter. And they ended up bringing the animal back just because they could not get all the parameters set up. They actually asked another breeder like what to keep it on, and he said cocoa fiber, which these animals have decent sized pits, and they do open their mouth quite a ways when they eat. So she brought it back a couple weeks later, and I ended up putting it in the incubator in water for about a week while it, got all the cocoa fiber out of its mouth. And she ended up bringing it back. It didn't work out, unfortunately, for that young lady and her daughter. But it's just a bare requirement to have, like, talk to a blood python breeder, which there's not a lot of us. So typically, if you're at a Show Me show, like, you're going to come to me. Because you have somebody who keeps king snakes and they say, hey, keep them on aspen, like, you're not going to have a good time. These are a Reptile type. Everything I keep here is on craft paper, but this room is controlled. Right now, my mini split's at 82. The room humidity is about 63%, every day. So that's giving them upper 60s inside the tubs. So I don't have to worry about holding that in like you would with a substrate, just based on the way I set my room up. But for your average person, you're going to need an enclosure. If you want one of these guys, you're going to need something similar to a Reptile, most likely. Cocoa, what's that? Cocoa husk, cocoa something. It's a cocoa something.
Yeah, it's cocoa husk.
It's good stuff. And they do well with it. And a big water bowl. These animals do soak. Unlike a ball python, you see a ball python in water, you're immediately thinking mites or something's wrong. These guys do it quite a bit. They like getting in the water, so you gotta have a good sized water dish. That does help with the humidity too. And then you got to be ready to be able to change their tanks quite frequently when they're baby. Their enclosures. As they get bigger, that female up there hasn't pooped in a year, so that's gonna be a fun one.
When they do, you definitely know they did.
Yeah, they did. It's they poop out a whole nother animal.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'll put your Great Dane to shame. With the poop
Yeah,
size.
yeah, they're impressive. But it doesn't start like that. You know, they do have a slow metabolism, but as babies, I'm almost cleaning baby tubs every day for at least one or two of them that are. One is peeing behind me. I can hear it.
Sounds
So,
like a gush. It's that
yeah,
terrible gush.
it's a gush. It's a horrible gush.
It's
Yeah,
squirt. It's squirt. It's
ter-
not pee.
yeah, yeah. Terrifies the wife when she's out here. She sews on the other side of the garage here. So she's like, she came in with the snakes fart. I said, yeah. She said, oh my God, there was that, and then there was this loud gush. And I was like, and then it peed. But yeah, we've enjoyed doing it. Like I said, we love doing the show me shows every time's one's around. That's definitely kind of our home base. I mean, we do the Nashville Exotic Expo. Anything in Nashville we're going to do usually if we got availability. So this next year we're going to do a lot of shows, and I'm waiting on Beamer to send me the list of the ones he's signed up for, and the ones he's not, I may venture to myself.
Yeah, we got a lot of good ones in Tennessee. You should come check out that Knoxville show next month. The first weekend.
Knoxville good?
Yeah, Knoxville's good.
Well, I was telling them while you were away, we're probably looking August for shows when we actually have some availability. Because right now I'd be bringing a display case with like 2 animals in it.
Oh yeah, come out to our big show, Virginia Beach.
See, that's the one I really want to do. I was talking with Dan Magano about that, I believe.
Yeah.
He actually went out there and did that. Dan really doesn't do shows. He was like, it was pretty cool, man. It was pretty busy. I know some other folks.
It took a lot of cheeseburgers to get Dan down there, I'll tell you.
Didn't did Chris Jones come out for that one?
Yep.
Oh yeah, Chris came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did pretty well too, and that venue is fantastic, and the whole area. I mean, it's a vacation.
It looked like it. I was talking to the wife. When is that show?
August 3rd, 4th.
Weekend in August. Yeah.
August 34th?
3rd and 4th.
And 4th.
That's probably right in our wheelhouse of when we'll be able to, bring that 30, 40 animal blood display to a show and actually have something to, start putting these in folks' hands. And
I can't recall having seen any at the show last year. Did you?
There was odds and ends, but nothing like, nothing that was specialty,
Yeah.
And it sounds
Brad
dumb.
specialized in it.
It sounds dumb from a, I guess, competitive standpoint, but like I want more people to get into them. Like I've loved watching Alyssa mess with them. Alyssa Leonard. Actually, Brittany and Charlie Redmond from Rascals that's who I bought my first Sumatran from.
Those guys are great. Charlie's hilarious.
Yeah, they both are. If you can catch Brittany like not coming off working 16 hours, driving 2 hours
That's the
to a
only
show.
time I ever see her.
It's a tough putt for her. It is a tough putt for her. I mean, they're awesome people though, and they actually sold me the first Sumatran I bought, which kind of kickstarted the whole thing, and that's what it was. I was looking at it and I was kind of the same thing. These animals are, this thing's gonna bite me. And Charlie was like, no. And Brittany's like, probably not. And I was like, 50-50, let's give it a run. And held it, and then after the show, I got thinking about it, and I actually messaged them, and I was like, hey, next show, I want to buy that animal. They're like, oh, we'll meet you in Murfreesboro. We're going on date night anyway. I was like, sweet. So, I mean, that really, my first purchase was from them, and that really was what kicked it off. As strange as that sounds, because that's really it's not really their focus at all. I mean, they've got some Sumatrans. They produce some bloods here and there, but they do a lot of boas, a lot of ball pythons, sand boas.
They do a little bit of everything. They're really well rounded whenever it comes to this.
Yeah, they are. They put together a good display for I think any show because they got a little bit of this and that. That's what I was talking about with about earlier was was, all the stuff Beamer breeds, what he brings to shows, like it's a lot of variety. I see a lot of people as a lot of variety, and then I'm like, well, we're just doing this. It's
You know what else
only going to be
Steve brings
this.
to the show? You know what else Steve brings?
I was going to say dirty jokes, but
I was going to say rum.
Yeah, rum.
Rum.
Yeah, Jack Sparrow here selling you some snakes.
yeah,
Yeah, we have well, I love he's got the best catchphrase in all of ball pythons, though. Let me put my balls in your hand. And it works. I mean,
Yeah, he's just straddling that line on sexually harassing somebody or selling them a snake.
oh, I love it, man. He's one of my favorite people. I love that we're close in distance to each other. We see each other quite a bit and do shows together. And it was actually Limey who put me in touch with Steve when I moved here, and that's how I got my feeder supply is Steve, and going over and cleaning rats every week. And I get feeders, so it keeps me in business. Not having to pay for them.
Well, Steve's responsible for us being in Tennessee,
Which is crazy. So he might get, I don't know if he watches it or not. He might get mad about it. I told him when I moved here, I said this, because I was talking to you at the time about bringing the show to Tennessee. And he's like, well, he doesn't really have a big footprint yet, or like a huge name. What's in it for the Beamer? And now look at it. It worked out the way it should have, the way I told him it was going to work out. Like, he's going to come here. He runs a clean show. It's a good show. The vibe's good at those shows. Everybody's having fun. I said, I went to 20 of them when I lived in Maryland Heights. So I said Mickey's aces, and now he buys half the floor space at every show he goes to.
Yeah.
yeah, I was just accepted by Beamer last year. If I pulled me aside at a show, he goes, "All right, I'm gonna remember your name now because you've been around for a little bit." Because for a while I kind of blew you off, but he goes, "You've been around for a couple of shows now, so I'll take time to learn your name."
Yeah, that sounds like him, and it kind of works good. The whole Reptile Collective thing, because that's you see at a show on a banner. I've got Reptile Collective on mine, as well as to Valhalla. Is having me just specialize in these. It wasn't really something he wanted to take the time to mess with. It wasn't really his, it's not Steve's drive to mess with short tails. But everything he does, and then our buddy Johnny, in the boas, and we got Brian Stewart on the East Coast with hog noses, and it's, as far as Reptile Collective goes, it's a true collective where we got about anything you can offer non-venomous.
Well, so what I like about that, once I figured out what you guys were all doing together, like I dig that, because it is just about, like, this whole thing is just about working together. Like, everything works circularly. Like, we're really not competition for each other, and we can all work together and do all of these things together. Like, we're such a small and growing industry. It's, I dig it.
That's why I said it may sound dumb. Like, I want more people to get into these. Like, I'm the only one in the show with them. I think maybe, and how does that not make that a better market and grow the hobby at the same time? Is if you've got 2 or 3 people who got them at a show. I get, for a lot of people, it's overwhelming now because you go to a lot of shows and you see 78,000 ball pythons over a weekend.
78,000 3D printed ball pythons.
And keychains.
Yeah.
But I really do. That's kind of my big thing, is wanting more. I want to spread, the passion I have for these animals with anybody I come in contact with. And I want more people to come up at shows, and contact me because they walk by and they're like, "I ain't a ball python. What's that fat thing in there? It looks mean." And I pull it out and I'm like, "Here, hold on to it." And they hold on to it and they're like, "Oh, it's not bad. That's pretty good. Not bad."
Yep,
I'm like, "Yeah, see?"
I just caught myself in Tulsa last weekend. I was walking by, saw ball pythons. I was kind of cruising by, and I almost broke my neck when I saw a Sumatran there in one of the displays. Like, now that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you really don't see at any show.
Yeah.
I mean, in the shows I've been to, in 3 different states, and granted, a lot of them have been show me shows where I'll see, like I said, Alyssa
You
got
see some
into
imports.
a handful of them. I saw Brittany Gobble was getting into a handful of them. And they're all working with nice lines and nice stuff. And but I want them to do more of that and less of, I don't know, ball pythons, I guess. That's kind of
Well,
their focus. But I'm like, I wish you would do more of the bloods. Like, come join me on the more of the blood side, because they are impressive in it. In a display when you see them,
let's
they're
not
both.
totally hate on the ball pythons though, because the thing is we just need to create more customers for all of them. The ball python is the intro.
Well,
I
it's
feel
and
First
it's
drug, the gateway drug.
it's the gateway reptile.
and I don't really hate on them because I still love ball pythons. I'm not interested in breeding them or having that be my focus anymore. It's that it's really hard to not find a variety at a show
Oh
with
yeah,
with everything they got going on. If you go to 10 different vendors, you're going to find every single one of them has a pied of some sort.
yeah.
It might just be a pied. It might be an axanthic pied. It might be who knows what it is. But you don't walk by the same table and go, that guy's got a martyr blood python. Or that guy's got a blackhead Sumatran. Or that dude's got golden eyes over there.
I
Like,
love those Sumatrans. Those are my favorite.
Same.
um, I wish I could get that girl out. She's about to drop eggs, so I'm not. I'm looking
Don't,
at her 26,000 times through the glass, but I'm not messing with her.
yeah, I wouldn't mess with her. She's getting ready to drop eggs. Let her be.
I do got a cool male.
Something about those eyes with those Sumatrans, man.
Yep.
So this dude just shed a few days ago here. Get
Those,
your eyes closer, bud.
those are my favorite.
But just these. I mean, these chrome head Sumatrans. Like, these are. If I go to any show and I see one of these, like, I'm gonna lose my mind. And
Now,
somebody
aren't there some
else
people
has
that have
them.
line bred those to where they're almost coming out like jet black now, right?
So I have some that are pretty dark, I guess. The original one I bought was a blackhead.
Yeah, those two I saw in Tulsa last weekend, they were dark black. That's what really caught my attention when I was walking by.
Are you shedding? You're shedding. You're also great. That's good luck. That is good luck there.
You got a poop?
I do have a baby.
Uh-oh. We need to see this.
So she is not really. So this is one of the only ones that actually ever has bit me. But this is a blackhead, and she is. She's going through her coloring up. She's still young. You're 7-month-old animal.
That's beautiful though. The black starting to creep down the back.
Yeah, and just her head. You get the orange eyes, and they really don't. It's hard to show them as a baby. I wish those. I got a male and a female, full-grown, proven breeder blackheads, and they're both shedding.
Of course.
What great luck! I look in there, and one's got half of its face off, and the other one's like a third of the way down its body. Terrific.
I think it's all the rain probably stimulating that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got nailed earlier with some storms.
Yeah, we're in the Tennessee rainy season, man. It's probably another couple weeks before we get to where it's tornado season. We get out of rain into tornado.
Yeah, here every time I hear thunder, I run and start pairing snakes. It's like, oh, put them together.
That's the only way to do it, man. When that barometric pressure drops, hey, they're ready.
Yep, that's
And
great.
we had what I thought was this marble pairing I got in there that I'm pretty excited about. I did not think was going to happen because these animals locked maybe twice. The most haphazard 30-minute, just these things usually tie up for like a week. You just lay there, and I'm like, it's not going to happen. Then she laid eggs. I was like, then we had 5 other pairings that we put the male in there, same thing during a thunderstorm, and just missiled. I mean, they locked up within 5 minutes.
Nice.
And these are a lot of these are, you know, first year animals. We got some that have had a couple clutches before, but for the generality of what we got, you know, I raised a lot of the stuff, and then Steve had it for, you know, a year and a half, and he was feeding it and keeping everything on par, and to get to where it could get to today. And we've got I think I got a martyr behind me. Yep. So this is a cool. I was talking about line breeding. Let me say, what weighs your head? So that's a cool line bred animal.
Oh, that's nice.
That's gorgeous. Down the sides, that color.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so that came out as an outcross. That's actually one of the pairings we got in the incubator right now. But like down the sides, those where that orange and that red splits off. I just think looked nothing like it when I got it. You know, it was a rust colored animal. I got a picture of it the day that Kara shipped him to me, and we had like a 3-month delay because of weather. And she's a sweetheart, so she sent me a female too, for nothing, which I told her absolutely not, but yeah, she didn't listen. So, but that was just a rust colored animal when I got it. So he's a 2018. So, you know, 5.5 years later, he's that red, that orange. That's kind of a cool thing to watch with him is the color change, the color up.
Yeah. That's an awesome selling point to me because, like you said, with the ball pythons, usually what you see fresh out of the egg or after a couple of sheds, that's the best it's ever going to look.
Oh yeah, they're going to be prime.
Not that some of them don't stay beautiful their whole life, but they usually are going to go, downhill, a little more bland as they age.
And a lot of them do. I mean, like I said, I still find, you know, tons of beauty in ball pythons, but I find beauty in all of it for everybody who's in it, because it like Mickey said, and I was talking about earlier. Well, Mickey had step out was our whole goal should be, you know, who's the next man up that wants to get into it that I can help. Maybe, you know, where Brian shed his energy with me, or you know, where Kara helped me out, you know, back when it was just one single ball python in a 40-gallon breeder tank. Like I want to be that guy to 50 other people who are, you know, who are that to 50 people each, you know, and just growing it, you know, making it bigger. So we're not, maybe the constant battle isn't, you know, legislation on banning species that there's no reason to ban, other than, you know, it's just a political aspect of it. And somebody did something reckless and it, you know, it ruined it for everybody, or, you know, a hurricane in the case of Florida did something reckless. But
well, for me, like I get so much joy and peace, you know, whenever I'm not dealing with all the bullshit that comes with everything that I do. Like whenever I get time to just sit and enjoy an animal, that brings so much joy and peace for me. And I would love to share that with everybody else, you know, like how you remember the first time you had something out, Brad, how excited you were.
Oh, dude, the first time I held a normal ball python about shit. No, I was like, this isn't something I caught out of the yard. I was like, this is a python, dude.
It's from Africa.
Yeah. I was like, this is an import. Like, nobody I know has this. Like,
it's got fucking ticks.
and I mean, it was from Petco, so undoubtedly it did. But the, you know, I remember getting to work and being like, dude, I got a ball python. Everyone's like, a what? Who the hell wants a whatever, a what? I showed them pictures of it and they're like, oh, well, that's kind of neat. And then I knew like 3 people at work like a month later who went out and got ball pythons. And I'm like, this is doing something. And then like when I saw and I know that's still the big thing. And that's the one thing I don't like about the ball python community is the spider hate. None of you would be where you're at without that gene. That was the tipping point, man. Everybody lost their minds when they saw the spider gene. And
that's still my favorite.
Such a cool pattern.
The bumblebee, man.
Yeah.
Still my favorite morph. A nice, clean bumblebee. Nothing.
Yeah.
Or
dude,
even a super bee.
I can see a 15 combo animal and a spider or a spider combo next to each other at the show, and I'm going to like the spider 100 times better every time. It's just such a cool pattern, and it really. I remember when I saw it, that was when like everything went from albino. That's kind of cool, and it's pricey, but we got albino in almost every form of animal, and then that spider gene, and it went.
Yeah,
And
I
it,
don't understand why they catch so much hate. Like, it's just a neurological disorder. I mean, I've never had a problem with them eating or anything like that. Like,
me and Steve talked about that once. I had a lot of spider stuff in my collection at one point.
sometimes it breeds
And
out a little bit. You know, it doesn't get so
and he
bad when you
does
mix
too.
other genes.
And we got to talking one day cleaning the rats, and we were like, I don't get the hate either, because every spider we have has never refused a meal. They're on it. I mean, they don't necessarily always get it the first time,
It's like watching a heat-seeking missile go after an airplane.
but I've seen
Swing
these
and a miss.
guys, strike at 1,000 miles an hour, and they've missed too. And then that's got these short tails got a much faster strike than a ball python's got. But that is the only thing I love the whole industry. It's the inverts, it's the amphibians, it's the reptiles. It's like people bring monkeys to shows. I'm like, I'm not going to own one because I'm not trying to fight a superhuman strength toddler in 2 years. But it's awesome that people have these things and that they're willing to get out there and they're doing the same thing. And anybody with ball pythons or crested geckos or short tails or Burmese, like, we should all be out there doing the exact same thing, and that is like, I love this thing, and let me share that passion on, with you, and hopefully, you catch a dose of it. Maybe it's not short tails. Maybe you're like, hey, they're cool, but I want something more manageable. I'm gonna tell them, go check out a ball python. Go, you want something smaller? Go check out a ball python, dude. Like, I'll hand a ball python to a 4-year-old, and it's not gonna bite him. Like,
Yeah, and it's
check
great.
these out, man. Like, just love all of it. You get educated on any of it, and it's all, you can deal with any of it. And at a certain point, that's where you watch the guys who keep the king cobras and everything like that. And you see their hook work, and you're like, they're good with them hooks. And
I
it's taken
admire the
years and
passion.
years and mentorship. I heard Mickey was pretty good with a hook now.
He's still alive, so it's got to be.
Yeah.
Brad, where's we didn't ask you, but if people want to take a look at your business or some of your animals, where can they find you online?
So we're on Facebook, 2 Valhalla Reptiles, Instagram, 2 Valhalla Reptiles. We have a TikTok, but I don't know how to use it. My kids made a video and put one on there, and they said it was doing okay, which by their standard, it probably sucks. They watch Madden videos and stuff, so TikTok, we're on Morph Market. I'm waiting for the Show Me Marketplace to happen. So we'll be on.
Should be open really, really like next week. I'm just waiting on the web developers to put the switch.
When that goes down, we'll be on that for sure. I hope. So we're on pretty much everything except Twitter, and I still want to say probably don't look for the TikTok because it's like one video, and the kids made it, and there's like a rap song. I don't even know what it is. Some of it's a really pretty chrome. The one that I'm waiting here to give eggs. I mean, she's gorgeous, but we haven't really put anything on that yet. I think I might try to learn how to use it at some point. Really, Facebook, Instagram, and Morph Market are probably the 3 primary for now.
So we'll check in. Scott, you want to kind of let everybody know what's going on this week for this weekend as far as shows go, or maybe the next couple of weekends?
Well, we got Davenport, Iowa this weekend. That's one of our kind of OG shows. Mickey, was that our first or second out-of-state show?
I think that's our 3rd or 4th show location.
Okay, so yeah,
a couple of them like boom, 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 real fast. So
yeah, like OG show going on. Then we got Murfreesboro, Tennessee going on. So right in your backyard if you want to go check that out.
And then we've got North Kingstown, Rhode Island, the Rhode Island Reptile Expo this weekend too.
Yep. Our buddy Corey up there running that one. So following weekend, the only show we got is Jacksonville, Arkansas. So I'll be down there.
Yay!
Down there and all that. So
And Mickey is obviously, like we said, he's down in Springfield getting ready to launch and open the Show Me store down there in Springfield, Missouri. And then we have open interviews this weekend in St. Louis if anybody's looking for a position with the shops or with the shows. Was it 9 to noon, Mickey?
yep.
Yeah.
At 9 to noon at our St. Peter's store. We're looking for pretty much a little bit of everything. Drop in, come say hi, bring a resume. Especially if you love reptiles and you want to work with animals, we need people at the shops, and we're looking for more people to help run the shows and keep expanding it.
Yeah, we're growing too fast. Soon we're gonna have to like unionize all the employees. There's so many of you guys now; it's crazy.
And we just need
So
more.
I can help you out.
Yeah, me too. I bet I could charter it with the St. Louis Carpenters. They take everybody.
All right. Well, we pushed over an hour here. We usually try to keep it about an hour, but conversation was good, so we keep going. Anybody got anything else we want to bring up before we call it a wrap?
Oh yeah, I got something. Don't leave your reptiles in the car after you buy reptiles at a reptile show or a reptile store.
Please
Don't leave your reptiles in the car.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do it. If you feel intrigued to leave your reptiles in the car, just leave your reptile inside and go lock yourself in the car. Just leave yourself there.
Yeah, most vendors, if you buy something from them, they will hold the animal there for you till you come back and you're ready to pick it up and take it home. You know, we ask people don't bring outside animals into the show. You know, if I see you with one, I'm going to tell you, hey, we're going to box up, we'll leave it here at the front table. You come get it when you're done with the show. Well, the same thing for you if you buy an animal, too. You know, if the vendor doesn't want to hold it for you for some silly reason, bring it up to the front table. We'll hold on to it for you until you're ready to leave.
Look, I will hold it to you at my house, and you can come get it from my house if you have to.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is stepping out a few weeks, but just a reminder, the May show in St. Louis is our tarantula takeover. So all of the normal reptile vendors that are usually there will be there. So everybody that you normally come and love to see. But we do a little special focus, invite some breeders who come in just once a year and do that show. But extra focus and extra tables set up for the tarantula breeders. And that is on Sunday, May 19th, I believe.
Yep. Same day as our Janesville show, which is where I'll be.
Yep. Same day, same costs. All the reptile vendors you're used to, but also a special focus on the tarantulas.
Maybe I'll
And
go
you
to
said there's an August show in Bridgeton again?
no
August now.
No August.
October.
I'm sure there probably is. I'll have to double check.
Thank you.
We got so many dates, I can't remember them all. I mean, there's one I can't every other month in St. Louis, so.
I'm trying to get August on booked, so.
Yeah. Virginia Beach is our first
Beach.
weekend, so I'd plan on that.
Gadsden, Alabama, end of August.
I've seen Gaston.
Yeah, August is kind of like.
Soon we're gonna have a calendar up on the website, a whole calendar page. I know a lot of vendors have been asking for it, but the web team's building out a calendar right now that links everybody to all the shows and events that are coming up. So it'll make booking a lot nicer.
Yeah, that would be a cool addition.
I made a Google Sheet with a list, but dates have changed and things have gotten wonky, so it's kind of outdated. I need to go through and update it again, but I think a calendar's be easier.
Look, y'all are busy, man. Y'all are busy.
We can do a swimsuit shoot with all the men of Show Me in each month on the calendar.
Nobody wants that, Mickey. Nobody wants that.
All three of us, Brad, you, me, and Steve. We can get Chris in on it too.
I'm in. All you had to say was you and Steve, and I was sold.
And they're like swimwear, buddy.
Brad, September 8th and October 27th in St. Louis. Those are the fall.
Okay.
There you go.
Just one day? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 2-day in July.
No, it's a 1 day now.
Oh, is it? Never mind.
And that's it. That's at the machinist hall there still.
Yep.
Come back home.
I need to, man. I missed the Lou.
Come get some toasted ravioli. Get your window smashed out. All that stuff.
Go to Hot Shots, get some wings,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
or Thai Kitchen and get some Thai. I miss Thai Kitchen.
They don't
That
have
is
one of
good.
those down there.
No, there's a couple good Thai places, but nothing like the Thai Kitchen there.
Oh, you poor thing.
Well, all right,
Yeah,
guys. I think
it's tough putt.
All right.
if
I'll see
nobody
you
has
later.
anything else, I think we can call that a wrap. We appreciate it, Brad, so much. Thank you for coming on with us. We hope to see everybody next week. Next week on the next episode.
Appreciate the time, fellas.
Take it easy.
Bye, everyone.